Hello, and welcome to 10 Very Big Books, a Malazan Readthrough podcast. My name is Josh Baker, and I've not read the books. And I'm also joined by other people who haven't read the books, and a third person. With me today, as always, is not my friend and closest confidant, but a good friend nonetheless, India Jones.
Good morning, Josh. You're also a good friend.
Oh, shucks. We also have with us our producer, AJ. I'm not going to ask you about bars and levels. You're more than that. You're a person.
Wow. I've never felt so human.
I hope you feel seen. And, of course, the long-lost but not forgotten fifth Sengar brother returned now to save Roulette from the crippled god. It's Peter Bond.
Hey, how you doing today? My name's Tim Sengar.
I like that.
I went to boarding school. I came back, and I do hacky sacking and mood rings. That's my thing. So
that's pretty good.
That's
Can anyone
really
here
good.
actually?
I love
Can
that.
you guys hacky sack? I know I cannot.
I definitely can't.
No,
I
absolutely
can't.
Okay, good. I'm glad we're all on the same page. If you
I can-
can hacky sack, good for you.
I did listen to 2 hours of Coldplay today. Is that worth anything?
It's the
Why?
equivalent. For sure, the
Hey,
equivalent.
Coldplay's good.
I was like, yeah. I saw they made a song with BTS, and I was like, I don't know if I really know any music that they did. And then I just kind of started, and it just kept going.
You don't know any music that Coldplay did?
Yeah, what the
I did know once I got into the 2 hours of Coldplay. I was like, okay, but
Interesting.
The BTS song is pretty good, though.
it's not the worst.
I have not heard it. I had a real big Coldplay phase in high school when the whatever album that had Paradise came out. I was fucking obsessed with that album.
Milo Zito.
Yes.
I didn't know.
Very
I didn't know
good.
I was amongst Coldplay super fans here.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
fucking love Coldplay. I truly, truly love Coldplay. You got a
Interesting.
fan in me.
Incredible. Well, today, folks, we are discussing chapters 7, 8, and 9 of Reaper's Gale from the series The Malazan Book of the Fallen. If you didn't understand that was what we were doing, I don't know why you're here. But regardless, welcome.
Do you guys know what they say about the dead?
No.
They're like onions. They have layers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dead?
That was the line. Wasn't that a line in this?
It's the name of book 2.
Oh, the Dead of Layers, yeah.
The layers of the
God.
dead.
Layers. No, yeah, I think I got
Peter,
it.
I wish I got that because that's an incredible joke.
Thank you.
Book 2 is actually just called Shrek.
Guys. Do you think
Yeah.
Steve has watched Shrek?
Steve, 100% like Shrek. That's one
All right,
thing
well,
I know.
now-
He
about
likes
Steve.
Shrek.
He'd say likes. That's a bold statement. I wonder if he's seen the whole gamut. Did he make it all the way
No.
to Shrek Forever After?
He didn't. Steve doesn't have time for that.
Isn't Shrek the ultimate postmodern fantasy hero? When you
Yes,
think
he's
about it.
incredible.
Wow.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
I think Shrek would be at home in the Malazan universe, I feel.
He's basically Karsa Orlong.
He's
In the very
basically
in the
Chris
first,
Orwell.
his morality is so great in the first one. He is like he does not give a shit about other people. He just wants what's good for him. Yeah, he would be perfect for this.
Put Shrek
hates
and Iskarl
civilization.
Pust on a road trip. Think about the two of them hanging out. They meet Krupp. They go into the Jago Dan.
Krupp and
Is
Donkey
Scarl Puss
hand in
is
hand.
absolutely donkey.
Oh
Yeah,
my
he
god.
is.
I'd kill the mule, baby.
Wow, that was good. What a strong
Yeah, it's
intro.
phenomenal.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it.
Oh my god, wait, just very quickly, because Iskarl Pust is donkey and Megara is the dragon.
Oh my god.
There you go.
You're
There you
so
go.
right.
Is this a
So
parallel that we never knew of? I'm sorry. Let's kick it off.
I need to see the timeline of when Shrek came out and when Steve wrote Dead House Gates.
I will just say, I know, Eddie Murphy fan casting for Iskarl Pust doesn't sound bad. Sounds like a fun time.
I
you know?
agree.
Yeah.
All right, let's get enough Shrek
All right,
talk.
Dead House Gates came out September 1st, 2001. Or 2000. Shrek came out
Ah.
2001.
Damn it.
We so close.
So really,
All right,
Shrek ripped off. Shrek ripped off this.
Right,
That's
Shrek
what
is
I'm
just
hearing.
Malazan for kids.
All right, let's get into it. Here's Chapter 7. Chapter 7. Atri Preda Yantovis, called Twilight, returns to Lether with the Edur fleets. She speaks to Tarlak Veed about his champion and the fate of a god's chosen one. The lack of Edur in the greeting delegation is not missed by the returning fleet, or the onlooking errant. Turtle Brizad recognizes something about Twilight, but his thoughts are interrupted as a carrion steps onto Lether soil, and its foundations shake. Ikarian remembers he has set foot here before. Karsa and Samar Dev discuss their next steps. They speak of bound spirits and resident gods. An average human guard tries to boss Karsa around stupidly and gets uppercutted into next week. The earthquake is felt by Bug, who understands its message. He reflects on past times spent with Ikarian and his relationship with Krull. Bug visits Rautos Hivenar and explains entirely too much of the history of the unearthed artifacts. He tells Hivenar that the machine at the end isn't missing any parts. What it lacks is an energy that has yet to arrive. Bug absolutely murders two patriotists on his otherwise somber walk home. Featherwitch exits her ship with newfound knowledge from her time on the fleet. She hides in the crypts beneath the old palace and plots the downfall of Lether. She is found by Han and Mosag, and they agree to work together. The Warlock King reveals truths about the Sengar family and shares his plan for Rulad's demise. Both of them think they are getting the better of the other one, and will for sure try to backstab each other later. Tribun Knoll continues to spin his web around the Emperor. Rulad learns of the death of his brother, but believes his father blames him for it. Knoll reveals the Patriot's claims of treason against the Edur, but Rulad is unsure. Nisal is unable to convince Rulad to turn to his fellow Edur for help. Tomad is wildly unhelpful to Bruth and Trana, the only Edur making any sense right now. Karos and Vicdad can't figure out the bug puzzle. Also, the Tor reread spoiled that Tehol sent it. Parentheses, unless we knew that, or should have gathered it from context clues, end parentheses. He orders Tanel Yathvinar to kill Janeth and dump her body, and reveals that he is close to arresting Nisal, who can be her replacement. They're both walking bags of shit. Tanal continues to be a super creep, impotently tries to confess his love for Janeth, and ends up putting her into an even deeper, more remote prison. Bug immediately finds her and rescues her. Ublala Pung is a national treasure and deserves more scenes. That is all.
Josh, I just want to say, I actually am pretty sure you're just fully wrong, and we actually have a scene where Tehol tells him and makes the puzzle in front of it. I don't think that was spoiled for you.
I don't think I put it together.
Unless I'm totally wrong.
Well, and so when I read that, I was like, oh shit, Tehol and Bug definitely had a two-headed bug, you know what I mean? But I don't think I put two and two together that he made the puzzle. I just kind of thought it was a coincidence.
All right, okay, you can take us into it. I just had to jump into it.
No, you're good. All right, so this book begins with the return of the Edur fleet to Lether. What was it like seeing these characters come back into the fold, into this new Letheri world, do you think, AJ?
I mean, I don't know. It was fine. The biggest thing I got out of this section was obviously the Icarium stuff, I think. Everything else was kind of overshadowed by that, if I'm being honest.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
But I do just want to say that Terralac Veed has this great quote about gods.
Terralac Veed spits fire in these chapters, truthfully.
Yeah, I hate to say it, guys, but Terralac Veed's good in these chapters.
Yeah, it's pretty upsetting.
Which I guess kind of goes with what we've been saying, right? Like we only like him as a character in a book and not as like a person.
Yeah,
and I think
true.
that really holds up in this section. But the quote from Terralac about gods: "I speak of when a god's chosen one fails, and they always do, Twilight. We are never enough in their eyes, never faithful enough, never fearful enough, never abject enough. Sooner or later, we betray them, even weakness or an overwrought ambition," which I just thought was a good quote.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Yeah, especially in the context of this, where we know that the crippled god's faith in his followers is like waning or just like kind of wibbly. I just thought that was interesting.
The crippled god's faith in his followers?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Their relationship's kind of weird between. We haven't seen the crippled god in a hot minute, though. I guess
We saw him in the last section, didn't we? And he was like, "Hey, my followers
literally
kind of
in chapter 6 or something."
Yeah, it's like my followers have fucked me up so bad, and I hate it. But I guess this is me now.
Oh yeah, you're right.
No, I mean I get what you're getting at, AJ. It's like he's showing up and is like, "Hey, this Lether place sucks. Let's fucking destroy it." Is like kind of what he's saying.
Yeah, the way Terralac Veed immediately gets a bead on what Lether's about, and it's like, "Ooh, this fucking sucks." And somehow he didn't have the foresight to realize unleashing a nuclear bomb of a human or a nuclear bomb of a being on a place is a bad idea. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, we saw in the last book, right, that like he thought that he was getting, a ballistic missile, and he did not expect that it was going to be actually a world-ending nuke.
Yeah, I
It
guess.
is. Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. How about India? What did you make of Karsa and Samar's discussion?
Phenomenal. Karsa just really is a funny guy. And him and Samar's conversation, I felt, I don't know, I think like when he was talking about the gods and the souls of the people and how he like carries them with him, I don't know. I felt like they have a very contentious relationship and I liked it. I thought it was good.
They're pretty great.
It's pretty much it.
I personally, I feel like when Karsa steps onto land and just punches a dude, it actually started something for me that is really then seen really well with Bruthen Trana later. Do you all feel like in Lether you could just be like, no, and they would just be so caught off guard with you just refusing that I feel like that's like that. Like I feel like Karsa's gonna do very well here because like their whole shit is built around like, oh, you did a bad, you're indebted now. And people going, oh, no, I'm indebted. Like, you could, like, I think people just got to say no more. And I feel like Karsa's going to be really, really good at that in this.
I mean, I think that's a bit easier said than done sometimes with some of this stuff.
Well,
but
it helps when you're 9 foot tall
Right.
and your whole face is tattooed.
Correct.
Right.
Karsa really puts his...
If a 9 foot tall face tattooed man opened my door and said, I live here now, I'd be like, yeah, you do.
Yeah,
Hello, hey, roommate.
Welcome home, honey. No, for real though. But he makes it very clear, like, don't fuck with me. And then they do. And then he has to bring down the hammer on those asses.
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys a
it.
question now that the two of them have arrived. When it comes to dueling roulette, do you think neither of them will, one of them will, both of them will? What do you think?
Well, they can't both unless one of them starts the fight. Like, I could easily see Akarian beginning the fight and then Karsa being like, oh, fuck, I want to get in on this. And then just like jumping into the arena, and then it becomes a 3-way.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking about it becoming like a 3-way fight. I'm thinking of it like Icarium and Roulade are fighting, and Karsa's like, man, I want to fight this dude, and then just like slices Roulade in half and is like, okay, now you fight me, and then he's fighting Icarium now.
So good.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that whatever the conflict battle with Roulade is, it's just like done in a second, and then we move on to a different one immediately after. Like I think I think there's going to be a roulette fight that just bleeds into a Karsa Icarium, or like Icarium all of a sudden is, knocking buildings down or whatever, or like Bug shows up.
Now refresh my memory. We've seen Roulette die a bunch of times. We saw his head get cut off, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I forgot where. I think
his head gets crushed by iron. Yeah, his head gets crushed. Yeah.
So presumably, like, when he dies, parts of him would just like form back together, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we were speculating about what would happen if you cut his head off.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm very curious. Like, if Karsa and Icarium just slice this dude into 4 parts, and then they each take 2 of them, is that a game over? Put him on boat. See ya.
I don't know. Part of me feels like whatever part has the sword will just grow a new roulette. I don't know.
God, that's an upsetting thought.
Yeah.
You know what, though? Could you remove the sword from his hand? Is that the key? Do you need to, like, cut the sword out of his hand somehow, and then, then you've just got a sad king emperor?
Part of me feels like his fingers are, like, crazy glued to it, like gorilla glued. So, like, even if you cut off his fingers, they're still just stuck to the hilt.
You'd have to pry it off, for sure. All this goes to say, the fact that we can't figure out how he would let go of the sword makes me think that he's not going to, without some sort of like gimmick of like he gives up and lets go of it of his own free will.
Yeah. Really quick before we move to the next section, there was a tiny scene with the errant where he watches Jan Tovis step off the boat.
Twilight.
Yeah. Also, yes, hello, Twilight. Welcome back. I'm sorry that I besmirched your name in book 5.
You son of a bitch. You wish for a moment you had an ounce of what Twilight has.
I don't understand the Twilight hype. The books were okay. The movies were definitely not great.
All right, anyway.
So the errant watches everybody come off the boat and sees Twilight come off. And it's like, oh, I can't see her future. This blows. I guess I'm losing my power, which I thought was just like not really interesting, but it was just like, I don't know. This view from the errant's POV is pretty neat, I think. So I don't know. I just liked that.
He's an interesting character to sometimes slip into the perspective of.
Right. And they're always very short sections.
Right. And we got to see it a few times. And basically, like, all he's working with right now is like, I mean, we'll talk about it later, but we learn in these chapters, like, he is literally not as powerful as he used to be because he chose to sort of be more involved in the mortal world. And now even that is getting less powerful. So it's very interesting to watch a god slip from, like, basically slip into mortalhood or whatever.
Yeah.
So we leave the ships and we go over to Bug, who feels this earthquake, which, by the way, the number of people who, when the earthquake happens, are like, ha, earthquake's crazy, right? And Karsa's like, do they or someone, like Veed's like, do they happen here? And Twilight's like, no, but they could, and I'm sure it's a coincidence. I'm like, how do you think anything's a coincidence with Icarium? Like, at this point, come on. So we head over to Bug, who feels the earthquake, and we get some real juicy Bug POV right now. India, how did you like seeing things from Bug's perspective for a bit, especially as he's in his feelings?
Bug is phenomenal. Bug is so fascinating because no one, I guess, knows that this man is a whole ass god. And
no.
Yeah.
And it's just like funny when he has these very mundane conversations with people who like think that they can intimidate him in some way. And then is this the scene when they were like, we're going to drown you? And he was like, ha, 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 you're going to drown me.
Yes.
Amazing, right?
Yes.
And then just like makes them fucking disappear. And it's like, I hope no one saw that.
And, although then he goes, well, people definitely did, but no one's saying shit.
What a legend.
I love Bug and I love anything that has to do with him. And you know what, though? He's so right. Like, you only want to bully people when they're smaller than you. And you know what? You need to mess with someone your own size or bigger. And I'm going to send you there. It's just a classic little break in the story that I love and I need.
We moved past the Bug and scene where they talk for a bit.
Machines, talking about the gears.
Machines, yeah, and I think this is also where, I mean, like, it really sounds like electricity. He's like, we just need an energy that's not here yet.
Yeah.
I don't know what else that could be besides, like, if maybe Icarium is the energy, maybe he is kinetic energy, the person or some bullshit.
That's what I thought.
So, but that'll be interesting to see what comes of that. I love that Bug was so distracted that he just like fully gave this whole spiel about these two aerosol and like the whole ancient history of Lether. And like, you think that Huervos Rivenar, what's his name? I've already lost
Rautos Hivenar.
Rautos Hervenar. Hivenar, whatever the fuck his name is. You'd think he would be
Rancheros.
like... I had H and an R. You'd think that after, like, if someone I knew started saying some shit about people from, like, 1860 and just gave me the whole life story, I would be like, you a ghost? You gotta tell me. Legally, you have to tell me if you're a ghost. How do you know this stuff? And he just was fully like...
They're a ghost or, like, a retired dude. These are the two choices.
Yeah. That's true, yeah.
Yeah, has a really specific hobby.
Yeah, got really into reading the history of his apartment building. So that's that. We get back to our everyone's favorite Pete, Featherwitch. How was that reunion for you?
When we met Featherwitch in book 5, I try and keep things a lid on it. Usually, my opinions, just to keep you guys in the dark. Featherwitch is definitely one of the characters I like the least in the series.
Yeah, she sucks.
Like, there's lots of people who it's like you're trying to cut a break to. It's kind of one of the points. But, like, man, she sucks in a lot of ways. But I do like this scene, and I like when she's talking about how I really like when they dive into Lether being this former First Empire colony, and they talk about the history of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how they talk about the First Empire and how it's this claim that, like, that the Imperials make this claim that it's the birth of human civilization, which I think is always interesting to talk about the hubris of that claim and how, like, the idea of empire as civilization is kind of a self-justifying thing a lot of the times for imperialism, or like, that this is somehow society, or that we are what culture and this is what civilization is, and that other places are uncivilized, so
Pete, we do live in a society.
We do live in a society. That's true, AJ. That's true. So I just always enjoy the First Empire talk. So I enjoyed that scene, but the scene later on with Featherwitch, I will rag on her more than she can go buy a canoe, is my opinion.
Yeah. I don't get that one, but okay. Yeah, we get some reveals here, actually. Pete, help me remember. Did we know? There's a part of me when I read this, like half of me was like, whoa, and half of me was like, didn't I know this? About the reveal that the person Karsa speared all the way back in book 3? Book 4. All the way back in book 4, speared was Benatus. Did we know that he speared Benatus? And that's the person. Isn't that the person whose head they've carried around or something?
So that's one of those things that I think is semi, like, I don't know. It's hard to know because you could have put in the pieces together maybe after like book 5 or 6 or so.
Hey, did you catch that, India?
No, I was going to ask you to repeat
this.
When?
So we get the reveal that way back in book
4 during the long Karsa prologue.
Yeah.
Yes.
He gets on that ghost ship. So remember in book 2, they go find the Salanda, the ship that's full of Tisti Edur heads, right?
Yes.
Yep. So, and then book 4, we learned that the heads are there because Karsa got on the ship and murdered all of them, including blasting through a door, getting hit by some magic, and the magic not working because he's covered in Ototero, and then he just spears that magician. And that magic user was Benata Sengar, Troll and Rulat and Fear's brother.
Yeah. So
so he's dead.
It was one of those things where I was like, it said it, and I was like, I was like shocked reading it, and then in my head I was like, no, it tracks. Like, maybe it made so much sense that I was like, maybe I did know this.
Yeah, Josh, I had the same exact feeling. I was like, I had to have been told. Like, we had to have known this before.
The thing is, this. So
that's pretty obvious.
At the end of the sixth book, Tomad Sengar is grieving Benedis, and there is conversation around him then. So part of me thinks maybe you should have. I don't know if it's explicitly spelled out there, but it's definitely like full on confirmed here.
Yeah. I got you. What AJ? What are your thoughts? Do you think Hanan Mosax? Do you think he knows how to play the game? Do you think he's learned from his mistakes and he's gonna get it this time?
He this whole roulette thing didn't really. He's doing the good thing. AJ, he's gonna help. He's gonna help him out. It's like this is he's gonna save the Edur.
I don't think he has learned anything, to answer your question, John.
Yup.
I think he still thinks he knows what's up. and knows how it's going to pan out, and that he is the smartest, as you coined with most people, which I've now not been able to stop thinking about with like the Patriotists and the Liberty Conclave.
It's so frustrating.
They all think they are the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
And I think Hannah Mosag thinks he's the smartest person on the planet.
I want to jump in. Featherwitch is the same. Like, in their conversation, she's like, and I'm like, you're an idiot. Like, you've been on a boat for an indeterminate amount of time, and you think that suddenly you know the secrets to destroying an empire? Like, keep going though, I'm sorry. I got really mad about that.
What's at least insane about Featherwitch is when you get to some people have these huge egos, it's like, yeah, sure, I get how some of these people, like, just can't think outside of themselves and like think so much highly of themselves. Featherwitch literally sucks. It has done nothing and is like just like a piece of shit. And like somehow she's like, you know what? I think I'm the fucking smartest person in the universe.
I like in the later Featherwitch chapter, where she's like, maybe if I stuck with Udanas, I could have been sitting on the throne. It's like, come on.
Fucking
yeah. Yeah, she's terrible.
Yeah.
So pushing forward a little bit, we got 3 whole chapters today. We see a lot of throne room stuff about how the return of the Edur impacts the throne, and we didn't even talk about one of the very first things in this chapter is Trib Noel playing his hand and sort of sending a message to the fleet by having the welcoming delegation exclusively Letheri, 0 Edur, and people are now starting to understand, like Tomad seeing, the Chancellor is really, really no longer being subtle about things.
Yeah.
How is this courtroom drama for you, India?
I'm not gonna lie, Josh. I zoned out while you were speaking that whole entire sentence. I'm so sorry.
Okay. It's okay. I'm a teacher. I'm used to this.
Shit.
It's my whole shit. How did you feel about the scenes where Tomad attempts to come talk with Rulad, but he's denied, and then Trib and Noel is trying to explain to Rulad that the Edur are betraying him? How is all this sort of, maneuvering and backstabbing going for you?
I mean, it's like, what do you want me to say? The Rulad situation where he's being isolated from everyone is weird and dumb, but also it makes sense. And if I wanted to control somebody, I would also keep them separated from it. It's classic abuser behavior. So in that way, it makes sense. I think Tomad's stupid anyway. I don't like, to be honest, everybody in this, just the people that are in the place where Rulad is. Yeah, that area. They are all, every one of them is in their own, has their own agenda and has their own like ideas and plans. And
can I just say, thank goodness we've moved past that in modern day politics, truthfully.
Absolutely, Josh. Absolutely. That was actually really, really phenomenal. But it's just like kind of annoying and I'm kind of over it. And to be honest, this whole chapter for me was a bit descriptive, a little too descriptive. And thus I think it takes away from some of it takes away from like some of the, I think, scenes that are supposed to be more impactful just because it's just like so, and I say this in the most like, really, really work with me, guys. It is so many words. There are so many words.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He paints a lovely picture for me, but one that I think I would like better with less words. So yeah, Tomad's stupid, Rulad's stupid, and I think the whole idea of him not being able to see him is stupid. And I think the idea of him bringing Karsa to be I'm really fascinated to see what's going to happen with him avenging Benadas or Benadas, whatever his name was.
Yeah, his response to that was so not what anyone expected, I think. When Trib Noel was like, well, we're going to use this to sort of, anger him into beating this champion. And he's like, no, father brought the demon to kill me too. I can't do it. He was like instantly like, the youngest child again.
He's super paranoid.
Yeah,
but like also,
right now.
Yes, like, can you blame him?
No, I can't blame him.
Poor Rulad. And so we end with 2 completely polar opposite scenes. We get back to our lovely Invigilator. That's for you. That's for you out there.
I will say, never. One of the things we have received the most mail ever to the show.
Someone tweeted like this a screenshot of like the dictionary with the pronunciation. And I'll say this: I'm from the East Coast, baby. I have never heard this word once, and wherever y'all are from, and you're getting invigilated all day long, like good for you. But like, forgive us this one, okay?
I will say this: I definitely don't want to be. I don't want to be invigilated for sure, but being invigilated also sounds pretty bad. You know?
Yeah, neither are good.
It all sounds very invasive.
I think someone on Discord said they're from Britain, and when they took tests, they had to get the test signed off by an invigilator, like they had a person, which I was like, you mean a proctor?
To be honest, they also say like aluminium, and it's aluminum.
Yeah,
so.
What the fuck do the British know? Am I right?
Let's fucking roast the British. No, it does seem like it's like that's not a part of American English, but it's used abroad in different other types of English dialects. So
Steve is from Canada.
Canada,
and lived in UK, so it makes sense. But yeah, so we get to Karos and Victad being real frustrated with the bug puzzle, which is very funny. They talk about Janeth. We do the creepy stuff. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. I thought that Janeth was done for. Even texted Pete last episode that I was like certain that she had like a terrible fate in store for her, and I was thoroughly relieved that she was rescued this scene.
Yeah,
me too.
Mm-hmm. What do we? There's nothing to even think. They both just suck. There's nothing we need to talk about with them.
Yeah,
good on Bug being there and saving people.
Yeah, Karos does say like, our plan to isolate Rulat is working out perfectly, which is like, okay, yeah, we need that.
Yeah. I feel like they're supposed to be doing some big reveal type stuff, but I feel like I feel like they're dumb a lot of the times, which I feel like sometimes they're even written almost comedically with how like evil they are. So yes, I do sometimes want to laugh at them.
Yeah, it's definitely like a cartoonishly evil
That's
person,
a good way to put it.
Especially Karos.
Speaking of cartoonish, the chapter ends with Ublalapung. Pete, best character? Second best character?
We'll get to the Ublalapung stuff. I do want to loop back to that. I do think in these chapters, I mean, we'll have to talk about it later. I mean, I do think we learn the most about the Patriotists in these chapters. We learn a lot more about them. And I do think in this scene with Tenal is like when he's like, you know what, I'm going to tell Janath I love her and we're going to like get out of here and it's going to be great. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Obviously, this is like, I don't know. He's like this fucking guy.
Yeah.
This fucking guy. Indy, what did you think about any of these scenes? Anything noteworthy or just kind of continued?
I was super happy when Bug came and Janath was like, she was like, this man it's a good guy. We're going to get out of here. I felt happy about that. I think that, what is that person? Tanal,
yeah, Tanal.
Tanal, yeah.
It's a very disturbing little situation. So those are my thoughts. And I like that she, Bug is really just honestly top 5. So that's really it for me.
It's tough because then we cut to the Ublalapung bit, which is like so fucking.
The manhunt thing is incredible.
It's really good. It can't
be a manhunt. He's cracking himself up. I love Ublalapung.
She has the breasts and stuff.
Yeah.
He does talk about Karsa a little bit, and I was like, interesting to see his point of view. Because I like how he points out that he was like, oh well, the people we worshipped as gods, who were pretty fucking fierce. I think Iron Bars had to fight them all off, and he did well because he's Iron Bars and he's like unkillable. But he was like, oh, we wouldn't even like worship this dude. We would follow him. Like he's incredible. He is our god now. Yeah. So and he insinuated that like his being here is going to attract the rest of the Tarthanol, which gosh, it's gonna be cool to see Karsa leading an army of giants. And I think that's mostly chapter 7.
Yeah.
I just want to really quickly, one thing that we didn't touch on that I had some trouble understanding, or maybe you did touch on it when I went to the bathroom, when they're discussing like, I couldn't figure it out. And I think I was supposed to just know who they were talking about. And I couldn't understand it for some reason. They're like, there was a child and then the dad the mom died and then the dad brought the child. Who are we talking about there? Is that?
Yeah, when Bug was looking at the mechanism and talking about.
Is that Ikariam? Was he the child?
No, I don't. No, this was.
Is the
I
child?
think he was just talking about the history. Do we know?
And what was if it meant nothing, then what was the point?
Yeah,
Oh gosh, the aerosol are from so long ago.
Peter, I see you looking away.
The only child I know of.
Peter couldn't want to be more out of this discussion.
I know. He's hiding. The only child we know is like Kettle, but I'm 90% certain Kettle has a Forkle Sail in her. Not like an aerosol or something.
No, but John, I don't know.
Aerosol is hairspray.
That's
it's an aerosol can, and I don't like this either.
I think it could be a Icarium because, like, he's looking at the mechanism and talking about it. Like, he's looking at this little tool, and we know that Icarium makes little tools or little timekeeper things.
And that could be why he has such a bad temper.
Well, and you know what? We don't know what Icarium's other half is. We just know he's half jagged. I guess we've never actually heard what the other half is.
Yeah. So when I read it, I was like, maybe this is Icarium. I don't really know. I'm not going to have any definitive answers. So I dog-eared the page just so that I can come back to it later.
I don't think it's Icarium because then later he says Icarium came to this continent.
Yeah.
And then met Krull here. So I don't think it could be
I thought
Icarium.
He came as a child.
Yeah, but I thought the aerosol were always here is what it sounded like they were saying. I could be completely wrong, though. AJ, just read us the entire snippet.
Okay. Yes, aerosol, a mated pair, preparing flint for tools here on the bank of the vast marsh. He worked the cores, she did the more detailed napping. They came here for 3 seasons, then she died in childbirth, and he wandered with a starving babe in his arms until it too died. He found no other of his kind, for they had been scattered after the conflagration of the great forests, the wildfires sweeping out over the plains. The air was thick with ash. He wandered until he died, and so was the last of his line. But Icarium said there would be no end, that the cut thread was but an illusion. In his voice, then, I could hear his father.
Yeah, I don't think they're talking about Icarium, because his father is...
His father's Gothos. But,
yeah.
But we know Gothos is Jaghut. So
yeah, we know that Icarium's half jagged. So the
I know, but that's what I'm saying. The other half, I don't know.
I think it's a story about Icarium being a storyteller. I don't know. It makes no sense. If they were supposed to get something out of there, I'm gonna be pissed.
Peter's making me feel like Peter could either be like, oh, it's nothing, and I'm just gonna turn my head to fuck with them, or it's something.
That's classic.
No, wait. Here's the next part of that. And here, long before this city was born, there stood a temple into which Icarium walked as lost as any son, the child severed from the thread. But the elder god within could give him nothing beyond what he himself was preparing to do. Could you have imagined, Krull, how Icarium would take what you did, take it into himself as would any child seeking a guiding hand? Where are you, Krull? Did you sense his return? Do you know what he seeks? So I really feel like it could be Icarium, but I truly don't know the significance of that.
Great. But Icarium can't. What do you mean could be? Because they all died.
But did they die?
All 3 aerosol died.
But Bug says the cut thread was but an illusion.
Exactly.
All right, we're moving on to chapter 8. You're not going to get to the bottom of this.
Pete, do you have anything that you can give us?
Just if it's not relevant, just please let me know.
I will just say I do think I've decided maybe Krull's the best god. That's my only thought. So.
Chapter 8.
Thank you, Peter.
Chapter 8. We see Cotillion and the survivors of the battle for the Shadow Throne and the Warren of Shadow. There's a very little house on the prairie vibe. Cotillion reveals some sex of the Shadow Warren to Quick Ben. Makes connections a first-time reader couldn't possibly comprehend. He assures Quick that Kalam is alive, but stops short of revealing Shadowthrone's reasons for saving him. Cotillion and Shadowthrone send Troll, Onrak, and Quickben across a super sick lake. Because Steve decided we needed another plot thread to keep track of. Shirka Lal is momentarily overshadowed by her first mate, who says some seriously funny shit about his eyeballs. They meet 2 women named Brevity and Pithy, who provided a nice moment of humor. The island of Second Maiden is ruled by a full-blooded sheikh, whatever that is. Also, there's no prisoners there. There are definitely Greyhelms. This is Josh's prediction based on the weird drawing. Udanas and company speak of the hero's tale from the perspective of the typical antagonists. He then shares some of his feelings about Rulad, for whom he has sincere empathy. Fear sort of gets along with him. It's nice. The Onix Order tells some important stuff to Ruin about the jagged ritual enveloping this continent. They explain the risks of looking for Scabandari's soul, and reveal that Menandere has visited them, and will likely oppose Ruin. They offer the help of Clip, revealed to be the mortal sword of the Black-Winged Lord. Clip continues to be a little shit. Brol Handar is convinced he is the smartest person in the room, as he accompanies the expedition to hunt down and kill Red Mask. Atri Preta Bivat reflects on her meeting with Factor leader Anact, and wishes Brol wouldn't be so dumb. The Edur are ever in over their heads when it comes to trying to play the same game as the Letheri, because the game is rigged from the start. Tok and Red Mask talk, and Tok is a little mad. He is not sure of his relationship with his wolf gods, but has not fully sworn off of them. They discuss tactics, and Tok agrees to help transform the All into an army the Malazan Empire would be proud of. So we start off with a lovely scene in the Warren of Shadow, where there's a whole farmhouse that has just ended up there with, a gaggle of animals. By the way, what's a rook? Is a rook a type of bird? Am I crazy?
A rook is like a raven, a crow.
Yeah,
it's a grackle. It's in that family.
I knew it was a bird, but I couldn't for the life of me picture it, but I also couldn't be bothered to look it up.
Yeah. It's got its beak. I only know this because I based a D&D character off of a rook. Its beak is gray. It's closer to just look straight up like bone coming out of their face. It's wild.
What? All right, I'm looking that up.
Really?
Rook, bird.
Yeah, because the beak is part of
that's
the skull.
Sick. That's
but the
so
rooks,
cool.
It's just straight up gray, like bone color.
Everyone go look up rooks. It's pretty cool. Pretty metal.
So this place where they were staying, were they in Shadow or?
Yeah, so they were in the Warren of Shadow, and a longhouse had just sort of appeared, and they were staying there with.
What does Cotillion even do?
Well, now he's just sad.
There's a line with Cotillion that I gotta ask right up front, and because I don't know if it was just a joke or if I learned something. He touches his face and goes, I need a shave. Do Ascendants do human stuff?
Gods poop too, Josh.
That's what I'm getting at. Like stuff like that, right? Do they need to shave?
I think we've gotten some bit of facial hair talk at some point. I vaguely remember.
But I just sort of thought they could, wish it into existence truthfully. It really caught me off guard to imagine Cotillion needing to find a mirror or look into a lake to see his reflection.
Yeah.
Sorry, that just popped in my head. Yeah, so what do you think the vibe is at this homestead is India of the survivors of this battle? How do you think they're all feeling?
Absolutely. I would say
I've never heard a more succinct stall for time in my life.
The vibe is off. The vibe is negative. The vibes are bad. We are not having a good time.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it doesn't help the collection of folks we have here? It is a very eclectic mix.
I think that, and also I feel like this whole group is on a lot of fronts. They're all doing a lot of things. They're all very especially mostly Quickben. I feel like having Quickben around and then Shadow Throne and Cotillion. It's
it's a lot of plots. There's
just a lot going on. And to be honest, Steve doesn't help me with I'm going to complain about this a lot today because I read something and it was the most true thing that I've ever read. And it was that it appears that this book, if you just took out a little bit of the description, could be 100 pages shorter. And I can't stop thinking about that fact. And in this scene particularly, and really every chapter, that rings very true. But I do love seeing Troll and Onrak, and we love to see it. I do love Quickben. I have missed them and I was happy to see them. However, morale is definitely low.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, even the rooster died from the morale, so
from
can't
a broken
be great.
Heart. Yeah,
Also,
I can't believe that's Shadowthrone shows up and it's like, yeah, Cotillion was right. The rooster died because it was sad. Like,
The rooster died of grief.
fuck.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
India, by the way, I've got to say, if you're not a big fan of wordy descriptions, I don't know if fantasy is the genre for you as a whole.
You know, when Peter pitched this idea to me, that was left out. The description piece, it might have made all the difference. But here we are 7 books later. So I guess I'm in. But be honest with me, do you guys ever just kind of like you're reading description and you're like, I'm just going to skim it?
Yep.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yep.
All the time.
Okay. Good.
So AJ, we do get we get the confirmation that Kalam is alive in the Azath house, in the dead house.
Yeah.
What do you think Shadowthrone's reason? Why do you think Shadowthrone saved Kalam? Because Cotillion knew, and he made a point of not revealing.
I mean, I don't know. Shadowthrone is one to broker deals and to like hide aces up sleeves. So in a way, I feel like he is just trying to leverage that. He's trying to leverage that, like with Kalam of like, hey, I saved your life. Just do this one thing for me. I'll call in my favor when I need it. But also, we're not fully 100% sure how the Azath works in terms of like healing people and like, can they leave? Like, when are they allowed to leave? Or like, will they die immediately? Right? Like, we don't know exactly the timeline for that type of stuff. But that's the vibe I'm getting. It's just like, you know, Shadowthrone's like, I have kind of a plan, and maybe if I need Kalam, I'll pull him out. Like the same thing he did with Quickben.
Yeah,
and with
that
the
makes
Perrin
sense.
with the Perrin favor, he still hasn't called in. Or no, sorry, that was Hood. I lied. Yeah, so I really think that's all that is. I don't think there's anything of like, oh, I have to save Kalam. I love my boy Kalam. I think it's purely selfish and just like Kalam is just like a stepping stone into whatever Shadowthrone's fucking whole deal is. And can I just say, this is my least favorite Shadowthrone when he's being like goofy, because it's like, we know you're not goofy, dude. Like, stop pretending. Just, I don't know. It's like he's constantly trying to make sure nobody has like a bead on like where he is at all times, and it's like, that's exhausting. You know, that's exhausting. Which I guess is the point now that I say it out loud. But man,
I get what you're getting at. And last part of this, Pete, when people like Shadowthrone and Cotillion say stuff like, we don't know where this lake goes in our warren, do you ever feel like the gods are, to me, it's sort of like when you find out that adults are all just making shit up too. You know what I mean? Do you feel like the gods have it any more together than we do?
It certainly deflates their image, you know? Mm-hmm. But I also think it's like, don't you want... You want them to have some sort of like absolute, but they don't, you know? Mm-hmm. So I have nothing more to add to it.
All right, good talk. I, for one, am very excited about this lake that had a ripple. And Cotillion's just like, oh, fuck, that shouldn't happen. Okay, that got me. I was like, okay, I'm down for weird travel across cool lake. Although the stuff he said about how like we can't tell you more because your perception will be determined by your what the fuck ever. Like, where are they going? What the fuck could they be doing? We'll find out next book.
I do like Shadowthrone does call Onrak Bony One, which I thought was good. But anyway.
Oh, gotta live on Rock Control. The best.
That is funny.
I'm excited for some Troll and Quickben talk. That should be fun, you know?
Yeah.
So then, So then we get to some pirate stuff. Shirkalal is being hunted by icebergs, which really feels like we jumped the gun into climate change, Steve. You're tackling a lot of issues in these books. I didn't think we would get to the climate change, but you know, here we are. So I want to know, India, if you were being chased by semi-magical ice, what do you think your escape plan would be?
That's a really good question. I would say if I have some kind of magical being with me, likely I'm inventing a fire warren, and I would just pop those suckers right in there.
Well, we've seen the fire warren because that's where the Stormy and Gessler become golden because they spend time in there. So that's a good idea. Just straight up open the fire warren on this plane of existence.
Well, I'm a golden god.
Yeah.
Because, you know, global warming is real and the fire warren is taking over.
Mm-hmm. I personally, if if I was being chased by magical ice, I would die. I think. Pretty
Josh,
sure about that
if
one.
I'm confident that I would not die, then I don't think there's a chance that you would die.
If I have a magical person, I'm set, but like just your boy, I think it's over.
Here's the thing though, Josh. Magical ice can't melt steel beams.
Oh,
so
shit. You're saying the House of Scales was an inside job?
Scales was an inside job.
Oh, fuck.
It was actually just done so that they could invade the Yaldon and Kondo for a pretense.
Tribid, no, I fucking knew it. All right.
AJ, we got to break the tense. AJ has beef with this section, and I think AJ should air it on the show.
I didn't know this. Let's hear it.
Yeah, Pete and I were talking a bit before we hopped on the recording. I did not like this section. It was too long, and I know that it's important, and I know later in the books we'll be like, oh, this is what this whole thing was leading up to. But right now, it's like the one storyline, besides, I guess, the Cotillion Troll Unrack Quick Ben one, that's like completely unrelated to everything else that's going on. But like, obviously the ice stuff is important and will come back later, I'm sure. Whatever they do on this island, I'm sure will also be important. But like right now, it was just such a long scene that I felt like I wasn't in on whatever the joke was. Like, it felt like we were having a goofy fun to whole bug time, but I just wasn't laughing.
It's so interesting. I immediately fell in love with all the characters in this scene. I was so about it. Because this felt to me, AJ, and maybe it was just like, when did you read this chapter?
Last night, or yesterday afternoon.
Maybe I feel like I read this midweek. I was relaxed, there was no time crunch for me. I had a couple hours.
I mean, don't put words in my mouth, Josh. I had plenty of time. I did it the whole day. I love to read the book like this. This is my preferred way of reading, is like to sit and just make a whole day of it. It's great.
That's nuts to me. But I was going to say, as I was reading it, it sort of felt like I was reading a Corbel Brooch and Bocalane sort of bit,
right?
That's how I felt. And for me, it was really good because we had just come from this, kind of heavy scene with the Cotillion and Shadow Throne. And I liked that they kept the energy up with the ice. And then as soon as the threat of the ice is gone, we just slowed so down into like goofy ass world building with the first mate's eyeball being a thing that everyone just bought. Like apparently he's famous in this part of the world. Like there's just so many little details that I loved. The fact that their names were Brevity and Pithy, which is like so good.
Yeah. Josh, it really does feel like Steve was like, I just want to put a mini Bocalane and Corbel Brooch novella in the middle of this.
Well, and I want to say that Pete has let it slip that maybe Shirkalal is in some of the other books.
Well, no, I had said in the last episode, because she brings up the Lees at Laughter's End, which is the title of
someone else. I thought Pete had said that Shirkalal ends up somewhere else, because I know what you're talking about, Adrian. Peter, did you ever say that, or am I crazy?
I think you're conflating me talking about Jakaruku and Blood and Bone.
Oh, and she dropped them off. That's right. You're right. Okay, then disregard me. I don't know. I imagine this is going to be like one of the, we're going to be here for a bit. We're going to learn whatever a fucking shake is. And then there was a
shake it up, baby, now.
Peace and waiting.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that. I totally zoned out and that's why I gave you nothing on that question you asked me, because I was thinking about whether to do that or shake it off. I think I made the wrong decision. So next time the shake come up, I'll sing a different song.
Well, we know that there's another shake is mentioned in this section, but I forget who, and I think they're dead or something. But they get mentioned in a way that it's like, it's classic Steve, like, shakes. And you're like,
the shake.
Yeah, and you're like, but Steve, I don't. And also, Shirk knows this person, and that's going to be a whole thing. I think it got me excited because any scene that isn't depressing and about the Letheri sort of conquest of the Edur morality is going to be my shit in this book.
But Josh, like, then what's the book about? Like, that's the story of the book. So why would you if you want to not read about that, read a different book?
I don't know. Hey, AJ, I fucking love that. All right. Are you giving me an out? Right. Can I go?
That's a really good suggestion, AJ.
Yeah. Can I dip?
Yeah, you got.
I didn't realize that was an option.
You'd rather have this two in one where you can kind of go back and forth between books.
Exactly.
But in all honesty, though, when you first heard about Shirk 2 books ago, Did we ever think that she was going to be a real character in the series? Because I did
No.
not. And
I thought we needed her to do some shit, and then the pirate was just in a way to get her out of the story. And
That's what I
Yeah,
thought
I thought
too.
she was going to be gone. Yeah.
I'm so happy that we are getting an undead pirate shirk, who, by the way, no one on her ship knows she's undead. Fucking hysterical.
Really good.
Yeah. They're all just like, damn, she's so young and horny. How does she do it?
We should move on. We still have a whole nother chapter left.
You're right. All right. We get over to the much better version of the Crocus crew from last time. That's right. It's your faves: Udanos, Saren, Kettle, and Silchus, and Fear, I guess.
Thank
We
you
get
for
Fear's
calling
there as
them that.
well.
Yeah. We get some cool. What anyone can talk. I loved Udanos sort of like fucking dissecting the hero's tale and sort of challenging it. What did you guys think about that scene and everyone's reactions to it?
Pete, you go.
Yeah, Pete, how did you like that? You're a big fan of dissecting and postmodernism. How did you like Udanos' postmodern take on the hero's tale?
Yeah. His postmodern wax.
Yeah, and they're explicitly talking about it. It's interesting for many reasons. But I actually want to pivot to some different stuff in this scene.
Oh.
Classic Pete.
So, AJ, you're gonna have to play the theme music again.
Yeah.
For the Fear Sengar section. So yeah, last week I started a new section of the show. I think it was called something like Fear Sengar Can Go to a Farm Upstate or something. And I have to say, I hope he has a nice, robust life there. I feel like in this scene, I was like, I felt like he was the most tolerable he's ever been in this scene.
That's because he was getting his way.
Yeah.
Just
You're not wrong. Not wrong. And I will say, I feel like I was a little chafed at Udanis here. Here's a crazy take out of Udanis. So he's talking with Fear, and Fear's like, "Why Rulad so valued you, Udanis? You were wasted scrapping fish scales all day, when by the measure of your intelligence and your vision, you could sit tall on my kingdom's throne." It's like, oh, he's a smart guy. And then Udanis laughs, and he's like, "Well, you just stated the central argument, both for and against the institution of slavery. I was wasted, was I, or of necessity kept under firm heel? Too many people like me on the loose, and no ruler, tyrant, or otherwise could sit assured on a throne. We would stir things up again and again. We would challenge, we would protest, we would defy. By being enlightened, we would cause utter mayhem. So Fear, kick another basket of fish over here. It's better for everyone."
And you didn't like that?
No, I was like, fucking take a hike, Udanis, is how I fucking feel. Like, I don't know, man. Fucking get a fucking grip on yourself is my fucking opinion,
Like, you think he's thinking too highly of himself?
Yeah, I think he's thinking too fucking highly of himself, and I think he's also sorely misunderstanding the institution of slavery. Like, I get that he's making a point about power and people who rule over this type of stuff, but I just don't think that the argument for and against slavery is that it's like keeping free thinkers down. Is that what it just seems like, bro, you are out of, I don't know. It's just a
little tone deaf. Udanos is a little tone deaf.
Yeah.
I feel like he's just conflating some really different things. Do you know what I mean? Like, do I agree rulers want to rule a placid, compliant populace? I agree with this type of idea, and I think that's what it's trying to get to. But I don't think that's an argument. I like how that's related to slavery. I think that's a tenuous connection.
I get that. I don't know about you guys. I mean, I don't think Udanos was really a big thinker until he just happened to get a Tisty Andy ghost to live in his head and then sort of get used by the gods. You know what I mean? It's not like he was this revolutionary thinker and he was always being held down. Like, he really has a high opinion of himself, but in a lot of ways, he just happened to be right place, right time for a lot of it.
That's a really good point.
I don't know about that. I know it's getting aggravated, but something I've always liked about Udanis, and we should get back to the thing. I just made this note. I wanted to get to it. Is that he is both, I think, a very likable character, but he has these rough edges that I think are tangibly rough and are things to not like about him,
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. So we got that, and then we'll go over and see the Onix Order, and that is there's what, 5. You know who they reminded me a lot of is from way back in book 3, Memories of Ice, the temple leaders over there who like are aspects of the gods and they don't get along either.
I absolutely love the wizard stuff, only because that's just like, this is the exact type of stuff I want. I want to have 5 wizards in a big, like, cool location.
Yeah.
And that they're all talking about quests.
They're basically the head of their avatar kingdom. There's like one that's good with plants, one that's good with fire, one that's good with air. Like
they all talk like their person. Like the plant lady's like slow and wispy, and the sea person's like on a baritone sort of smooth voice.
And of course, we were talking about them having this very meta conversation about a classical hero's journey earlier. But like, this is the type of thing where like Steve doesn't even bother setting this up, I feel. I mean, there's like, I guess a little bit of exposition paid to it, but I feel like mostly he's like, okay, well, you get it. It's the wizards. We're doing the wizards tower. Yeah. This is the type of wizards it's just like, I don't know. It's not like he's introducing, I feel like a whole,
no,
I don't know.
You're not wrong. And then we just like, they jump right into like, I mean, almost everything they said went over my head in terms of like
really
the danger of the Jaghut ice going straight to the heart, and you'll find so and so in the shadow of the ice, which is probably the fucking Shadow Warren or some bullshit because it's not where he thinks it's gonna be. It was so confusing to me, man. Did AJ and Indy, did either of you get anything more out of that? The Onix people telling Ruin about like the journey he needs to take?
No.
Yeah, AJ.
No, it's just fun wizards talking to each other, and then they say, oh yeah, Clip is the mortal sword of Animander Rake. It's like, oh okay, cool, I guess.
Yeah,
Animander Rake has a mortal sword.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. Yeah, so this threw me off because we know that some ascendants get shit like that, but then not everyone does. So does Silchus
Chainchamal do?
Well, yeah, they have and then does Silchus Ruin have a mortal sword somewhere that we don't know about? Like, how do you get to be that? And does Animander Rake even fucking remember these guys exist? He was here so long ago.
Yeah, who fucking knows, dude?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I hate Clip. Clip sucks. But also,
Clip is so annoying.
I know that he's gonna do a big turn when he like gets to fight, and he for sure uses those dumb fucking clackety things. He's gonna like slice a man in half, and I'm gonna think it's badass, and then I'm gonna be like, all right, Clip, fine.
I don't know though. We already have a cool like whip
red mask
weapon with red mask. So I'm thinking the chains and the rings do something completely different. Like he like spins it and it makes him able to fly or something. Like it's not a weapon, it's like some weird conduit for another thing. I don't know.
He can blink through space and time. Like clink and he's like 20 feet away.
Right. Or like he uses it as like a spellcasting focus or something, and he'll like clink and then blow somebody up or some shit. I don't know.
It's gonna be good regardless. Anyway, excited.
So as much as I hate Clip, I do love that every section with Clip ends with someone saying, "Do you have to do that?" And he says, "Do what?"
Yeah,
with the rings. It's really good.
That I've never read something that I was like, "Come on," and also like, "Come on." That's pretty good. Like I've never felt so angry and also like, "This is good writing." It was pretty great. Let's keep this pace going. We have a whole.
I'm sorry. I don't feel like I was. I don't feel like I really put a point on it earlier. I agree with some of Udonis' sentiment, but mostly I find him to be really conflating several key points.
Yes.
And also in a way that is incredibly self-serving. Like, why did the Edur have slaves? It's because I was too smart for me to be it was too much of a free thinker. Do you mean? It just seems to me like a totally, it's a crazy point of view. Anyway, so we got to move on. I'm sorry.
All right. Yes.
Yeah.
We get over back to Drane. By the way, what's our official podcast pronunciation? I would say Drane, but I heard
Drane like Renee Zellweger.
Oh, Drane Zellweger. I like that. Some people say Dreen, and I don't like that.
I thought it was Dreen.
I read it as Dreen or just Dren.
All right, so I'm totally fucking wrong with the Drene Zellweger.
I say Drene.
I don't know.
But yeah, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'm going to say
what I want to say. Add it to the list of Steve questions.
Yep. We get over here, and for the 80th time in this series, one person's like, "Here's my master plan." Ha ha ha. And then we switch POVs, and the person's like, "God, they're so dumb." I feel bad for the Edur, and we're gonna see later, when Bruth and Trana in next chapter, like we're gonna see later that like, at some point you gotta like, you can't outsmart someone at a game they invented and the rules of which they keep changing, right? Like if your opponent's playing Calvin Ball, you need to pick up a brick. Like there's no way to win Calvin Ball if you're not Calvin. So then that was just like, this whole scene was just kind of like a breakdown of like everything, like the assumption the Edur have that the Letheri are playing by any rules at all.
Yeah.
So
they're like at all doing it.
Yeah. So I mean, I found it interesting, and I honestly, at first, I was like, "Yeah, bro, Handar, let's go." And as soon as we went to Bivat's POV, I just knew. I was like, okay, well, we're gonna break down how this went wrong. What do you think, though, AJ? Do you think Bivat do you think Handar is gonna survive this expedition?
I want to say yes, but I truly don't think so. I think the end of this book, or like the ending of this storyline, is like Lether just like totally engulfing and destroying Edur society.
Mm-hmm.
So it really just, I don't know. I'm kind of just waiting for that. Yeah, I really think it's gonna go bad for all the Edur involved, and it's just gonna really suck shit, honestly.
What do you, India? Do you think the confidence that the Lether and Edur force has, how do you think that battle's gonna? Do you think the battle's gonna play out the way they think it's going to, or do you think anyone's gonna win in the initial fights, or is it gonna be a draw? Do you think, India?
Well, Josh, whenever I feel like in this book somebody thinks they're gonna win, they oftentimes are missing some key point that they didn't know about, and then lose miserably, and or there is no resolution until 3 books from now. So I'm thinking, in this case, in the grand scheme of this story, we need some kind of resolution, because is this really our central like issue here, Edur and Lether people? I don't think so. So I do think that initially they're gonna have like a small loss, and then later on we'll have like a crushing blow.
Do you think?
And that's my take.
Do you think, AJ? Do you think the person that loses first is going to then win the major engagement, or do you think they're destined to lose the whole war if they lose the first battle?
No, I think neither, because I think whichever one comes out on top in the battle, I think in the end some crippled god like annihilation shit is going to happen. So no matter what happens between these two people, like they've said it already a couple times throughout this book, like the gods are playing their own game. So I feel like at some point they're going to be like mid skirmish or something, and then all of a sudden, like the moon is going to explode. Something of that caliber is going to happen, and everyone's gonna be like,
about the moon exploding.
We have no control over anything. Like shit. And then I think maybe that's the thing that gets them to come together, but really I have no idea.
Well, also, like, what if Akarium loses his shit?
Right, and then there's Akarium and Karsa, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Akarium is also like a big player in things going wrong, or like, because at any moment he also, we know, can just like black out and destroy entire civilizations.
Yeah, it really just makes me feel like
there's
all
so many
of this,
moving parts, guys.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But India, I think you bring up like the moving part. Like no matter what else happens, if Akarium loses his shit, it's over for everyone, and none of this stuff matters. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like having a hard time being able to like fully connect with some of these story beats and some of these like, oh, we're gonna do this thing for society, because like, they don't know that there's fucking Chernobyl just like walking around their city, right? Like they are seconds from disaster at all times, and they just don't even know it.
Mm-hmm. I guess we will see as we go. And we end the chapter with some quick talk and Red Mask talk. Talk is kind of off his fucking rocker. But
I mean, dude was just tortured for what seems like a long time.
Remember that?
He was
like,
he was all deformed, and then he got reborn into this dude's. Yeah, it's a lot.
It was a lot. So I'm not surprised.
Pete, do you, as a first-time reader, did you believe Talk was going to single-handedly transform this fucking all force into like a Malazan style army? That seems like a lot for one person.
I will ignore that question and rather ask you.
Damn it, dude. What's the point of us hosting if you're not going to answer our questions?
Exactly.
Well, we're going to have to figure it out because it's pretty hard. That's a question I'm not going to answer. So, but,
in fact.
we'll have to figure it out. But instead, I would like to just get a quick yes or no from all of us on after I count down on whether Red Mask is hot. 3, 2, 1.
No.
Yes.
No.
Wow.
I feel like Red Mask is too cool to be hot. Just wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't be right.
Yeah.
Red Mask literally cuts people in half, and I can't subscribe to it. I can't.
And he makes people get buried alive.
Well, that's a whole different thing. But here's the thing. India, counterpoint. Is Karsa hot?
Yes.
Karsa cuts people in half.
What? That is an insane take. Karsa is definitively not hot.
Karsa is hot because Karsa is 9 feet tall.
Yeah, and confident.
And
we love
confident,
confidence.
Covered in tattoos, and could kill my enemies.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Could split me in half in more than one way.
But he also sucks shit, and that is his defining quality in my book. So,
well, like, doesn't Red?
You asked if he
who in these stories doesn't suck shit.
Also, you asked if he was hot, not if he was boyfriend material. Different questions.
Also,
dateable?
Does Red Mask not wear a red mask?
Yeah, we don't know, Pete.
Sure.
There's got to be a reason.
So, like, what's under that? You know,
my guess is he's brutally disfigured. Personally,
I agree. And if the time were to come, I'd want to take the mask off, and I don't know what I'd see underneath.
Yeah. What if you were just staring back
nervous.
What if you just stare back at a reflection of yourself?
Whoa.
He might be a butterface.
Yeah.
Is what we're saying.
Precisely. Yes. There's no, but he is, you know what? I take it back. I actually think the more I Googled it, and I'm just.
This is fucking Silch's Ruined Body Pillow all over again.
It's the arms.
Oh, hot. When you go to the Malazan wiki, I take it all back. Hot. He's got a nice long ponytail, jet black hair. Yeah, who drew this? Dehan Delic is great. All right, and that concludes chapter 8. Is that good?
Yeah.
7, 8.
Do you want to take it again when you don't say chapter Nate?
Nope, I don't. Here we go.
Okay.
Chapter 9. Suckle Enkidu, a character I'd completely forgotten about, sits outside the lean-to where her newly freed sister sleeps, recovering from her centuries-long imprisonment. They discuss their plans for revenge against Manandere, and it becomes clear that Suckle Enkidu is the middle child. Sheltatha is not convinced they can defeat Ruin, but Suckle Enkidu hints at an answer for their problems. Both are definitely secretly plotting to betray the other. Samar Dev and Texilian speak about the coming fight between Rulat and Karsa. Texilian reveals he has noticed patterns in the city, where energy courses like twisted wires. To which I say, hey, who is this Texilian guy? How does he know what electricity is? Definitely more to him than meets the eye. Texilian urges Samar to run, but she replies that she feels loyal to Karsa. Terralak Veed has some serious existential dread, and should definitely seek professional help. He now understands why Mappo chose to betray his mission. Atraprita Yantovis, called Twilight, visits her second-in-command, the now-mad Verit Tawn. She is accompanied by a Kabalhi monk who calls himself a senior assessor. There's some great jokes in here, you should read them. He isn't allowed to laugh, and he and Twilight speak about gods and worshippers. There needs to be a novella on the Kabalhi if there isn't already. Pete, please let me know after this if there is. He heals Tawn, to the relief of Twilight, but as they begin speaking and catching Tawn up, he mentions Icarium, which causes the monk to flee. Twilight tells Tawn that she is leaving in 2 days to return to her post, and that he should accompany her, before leaving for his family in Blue Rose. Veed visits as they are leaving, and there's a moment of pure bromance between the only 2 mortal survivors of Icarium's rampage. The errant is sad, and somewhat regrets becoming a more present force in the mortal world. But then, what's that? Fenner's here? It only took us 5 entire books for that plotline to pay off. The two agree to work together, and Fenner gives the errant news of the beast hold that changes everything he thought he knew. Featherwitch casts tiles, and it's wicked confusing. Can't wait for someone to explain how it totally recaps the plot so far or something. The ghost of Kuraquan appears, and they bargain, with Featherwitch agreeing not to use the finger of Briz Beduct until the Sita tells her to. Samar and Taxilian take a look at the scale house, which collapsed with the arrival of Icarium. Samar has suspicions and leaves it at that. Bug and Tehol take a look at it too, and they also have suspicions, and that's that. Siren Kenar, a lieutenant of the Patriotists and total shitbag, raids Nissal's quarters and takes her prisoner. Bruth and Trana enters Nissal's chambers an hour too late, and orders his Edur followers to get her back. He is interrupted by the Chancellor and 2 bodyguards, who explains that Nissal has been accused of treachery. Bruth and Trana comes to the realization that he has 2 hands, and those hands can beat ass. He proceeds to do that, and it's sick. Nissal is given the choice between torture and death, or signing a fake treason letter and a quick death. She chooses the latter, but reveals that she is carrying Rulad's child. Karos and Vicdad goes to get a healer to see if she's bluffing, but then quickly returns as Bruthan's forces arrive. He kills Nissal. Bruth and Trana enters the Invictad's office and proceeds to take care of business. They leave with Nissal's body and the note she signed. Tanal Yathvanar discovers that Janeth has disappeared, but his search for her caused him to miss the attack on the Patriotist headquarters. Karos tells him a war has begun this night. Bruth and Trana has his aides hide the bodies of the Edur and Nissal. He tells his warlock to contact Hanan Moseg and inform him that war has begun this night. Deja vu. Janeth wakes up and we find out that Tehol was a little perv as a teenager. Not shocking. Some things are discussed by the Liberty Consign. Tehol's plan to destroy the market is working, but they think they'll catch him when he makes his next move. Rauto says he has already begun hiring alternatives to the Patriotists.
Josh, please take us away. I do just want to hop in and say I feel so stoked that we've changed around the format and you're hosting and that you just read that summary. Because in my estimation, I always thought I was alone in pronouncing everything shittily.
Yeah.
Josh, I feel like you're just absolutely rolled over these names, not a care in the world,
Yeah.
just smashing down doors.
That's 100% accurate.
Breaking windows.
Yeah, and
so I hope you get put on blast as well.
Well, here's the trick. I'm not gonna read the Discord or Twitter. So I will never know. I'm going to sleep
That's
tonight
how I
assuming
feel, too.
I
So
pronounced everything correctly.
You have to contact Josh directly at his phone number, which is...
Yeah. If you want to get up to me, you're going to need to get me at my work email. I'm not checking anything else right now.
It's the start of the school year. A little busy.
At 10verybigbooks.com.
Yeah. So we get a lot. Obviously a lot in this chapter. That was a long summary. But we start with Suckle Enkidu and Sheltatha Lore, who have some big discussions about their past as sisters, along with their relationship with Menandere. What do you feel, AJ? How do you feel about this relationship between these two? It definitely feels like a tense allyship to me.
Well, it's definitely tense, and I think justifiably so.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I don't know, I think it is exactly how I would envision it would be, like if someone was like, oh, if you had thrown your sister into a hole for 10,000 years and then rescued her, how do you think she would feel? Like, I think this is exactly correct. Indy, are you just raising your hand because you agree, or do you want to?
When you're done, I would like to also speak on this topic. So
Okay.
Please proceed.
Okay. So I'm not expecting them to become best friends or whatever. And I imagine they're going to hash out. Well, no, actually, I don't think they are. The conversation that they had about of Suckle saying oh, well, it's kind of Menandere's plan. And I didn't want to say no and blah, blah, blah. Or, I couldn't say no, whatever it is. My first instinct was that's a conversation that's going to happen a couple more times. But I feel like both of, I don't know, these are two very, assumedly, very powerful beings, and both have strong feelings about things and like their own agendas, I guess, or at least Suckle-Ankadu is. I don't even know what Shaltath Lord's agenda is, but so I think this is the one time they're going to have this conversation. It obviously went badly, but I think you are right, Josh, where like something is going to happen and they're going to try and plot against each other. I think Suckle-Ankadu is like genuinely wants, I'm going to call her Dapple because that was something that was a nickname. They said that she goes by Dapple.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just easier. I think Suckle-Ankadu is genuinely wants Dapple on their side. And I think Dapple is just like, fuck everything. Like, I'm just going to go buck wild. So I think the betrayal is going to be from Dapple's direction.
Mm-hmm. India, you had something you wanted to add?
I did. So, as someone with a sister, I do believe that I could bury my sister for a really, really, really long time.
Right.
And then come out, have a quick spar, and be right back on track. So I actually think that this is gonna work as any, like, I think that it's fine. I don't really know
a good
if
alliance.
I think that. Yes, sometimes you bury your sister alive.
Interesting.
But it is at the end of the day, you are sisters. And I don't know, AJ, I know you have sisters. I don't know if you've seen any violent fights, but as someone who has definitely sparred violently with their sister and then went out for brunch, I think that this is going to be a very healthy alliance. And I'm looking forward to it. And I love sister. Yeah. We get a lot of brother time, but I'm really here for the sister drama.
I would love to see it be a good alliance.
Here's the thing.
Yeah,
okay, this is what I was about to ask.
I want to double check. Menandere put her in the hole, and Ankle Suck, whatever the fuck her name is, just didn't help, right?
Menandere and Suckle-Ankadu are sisters.
And
right.
then Shaltath Lord's a cousin.
Is their cousin.
Yeah,
right.
Okay.
And so if my cousin buried me, I might be a little more peeved.
And Josh, I think that is what Suckle-Ankadu's trying to pitch is like, I just didn't do anything, but like we saw them both holding Dapple in front of Blood Eye or whoever it was, and they were like, we're gonna put her in the Azaf, and he's like, yeah, cool, good.
I totally forgot that. Oh,
I love that for you.
Yeah. So she definitely had something to do with it.
So she's lying.
Well, it could still be, I don't think she could, there is definitely a possibility where she's totally fucking absolutely lying out her entire ass. But I do think there could be some truth to like, it was Menandere's idea and like, I couldn't say no because from what we've seen of Menandere, pretty fucking brutal. And I don't think she would hesitate to just absolutely skewer her sister.
Oh yeah.
And
Neither
still
would I.
bury. Yeah. So I don't know. I think there could be some truth there. I really truly do not know what is more likely. I do think at the end of the day though, Dapple is going to come and just
Which one is Dapple?
Dapple is Shaltath Lord. That was the one that was buried under the
I'm so
in the
fucking
Azaf.
sick of these names.
Sorry.
Again, why couldn't it just be
names.
Casey, Megan, and Caroline? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. One interesting thing about this is Shaltath Lord does say like, oh, I've learned a lot about Silchus Ruin because his mind was so close to mine. So she learned she learned about the true betrayal.
Yeah, lots of stuff.
A lot of his
why
weaknesses,
was the mind,
I guess.
What does that mean? Mind was
Like
so close.
So they were both buried in the Azaf at the same time for a very long time, and she basically it sounded like, huh? You
can hear the people also in the Azaf.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine everyone's just kind of a bunch of souls or whatever, kind of floating through each other. But she said that Silchus got lazy or something, and like his defenses weakened, and she just kind of went in there and like I don't know, learned his
fucked around.
brain. Yeah, fucked around. So that was cool, I guess, interesting at least.
Agreed.
Cool. Yeah, I forgot it was me hosting for a second. So we move on from this, and we get over to Samar Devon Taxilian, and Taxilian like is an interpreter, but I guess also an architect, and he is really throwing out some crazy he's like, well, we architects speak in a secret language, and I'm like, you're from a different continent. I don't know
math,
if that's
dude. Okay.
Yeah, I guess the language of math. Same as the language of love, I guess. So it's universal. What do you think? Do you think India that there's some secret to Taxilian we don't know yet, or do you think he's just like a useful plot device?
That's a really good question, Josh, because I don't know. I think it's really hard to tell because especially as far as characters go in this book, like you just don't know. You never know. So I don't understand. The Texilian is the person that works with Rulad, right? Is that person being isolated as well?
No, Texilian's with Samar.
I
no,
thought they worked with Rulad.
No, Texilian and Samar Dev are together, and Texilian's from another continent. He just sort of picked up the Edur language really quickly, I think, and he was being used as the translator.
Right. Not with Rulad?
No. He met Samar and Karsa in the last book where they were...
That's who it was. It was Karsa.
Yeah.
It was Karsa.
Yeah. Sorry.
The other big guy with the sword.
That was me. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't really see this character being like super relevant, and also this like scene to me was just another one that I didn't need.
Yeah, I think we're definitely they're trying to tell us something about this city, right? Like we know that the city is built on another city, but that city is still existing, and that's important, and it's important where these certain things are. But it's one of those things where like I'm too dumb. I'm sure the whole city's a conduit to hell or something, and it's actually in the shape of a pentagram, and we don't know that or something.
It's funny. I think I've long considered Lethris one of my least favorite settings on this series. And I feel like this time around, especially in passages like this, I've really kind of been enjoying just like envisioning the city, kind of being there, so to speak. And I feel like I'm really having I'm really soaking in the environment this time around.
I feel like it's easier to do that when you're not trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. So for me, those things that you enjoy, like, like getting to know the areas and understanding the history, like I hate that part because like then I can't tell the difference. Like I'm just trying to figure out what the fuck is going on here, you know? So I could do without that, Peter, but I understand why a second read through that might be more interesting.
I have no comment, but I will answer that. I will address your thing once eventually. So,
okay, good.
Fair.
This whole talk makes me curious about if Bug knows about this whole thing.
We know he knows something because later on they look at a different thing, and then Bug and Tejo look at it and he's like, "This has confirmed my suspicions." So. I mean, Bug's like the oldest thing here besides the Errant, I think. He might even be older than the Errant. I'm not even sure. So.
He definitely is. He's an elder god.
Yeah.
I think the Errant is just ascendant.
Yeah, he knows shit. But we're not going to know what he knows for a while. I don't think we need to talk much about Tarlak Veed other than like slowly he's becoming not the worst, but like really slowly.
Just so dumb.
It's really frustrating how much he's like, God, I can't believe the guy who was with this dude for millennia was right about him.
Right.
Yeah.
And these people that I don't even know their names of lied to me and used me. Like, yeah.
Ugh.
Duh. So we can move past that. Then we got Twilight. Pete.
Twilight.
There we go. Okay, thank you. I loved, but this scene actually was the standout one for me. Absolutely loved this weird senior assessor. What did you think of the like sort of blast of exposition here, AJ, with about this realm that he's from?
It was a lot. I mean, some wild world building, right? Just like so much shit. But I don't know. I think it's interesting enough. The way he speaks being played for laughs, I think was pretty funny, but it did go on for a little bit too long, I think. But then I do love that he was like, oh yeah, I'm just going to heal him like this and it's going to work. And then it does. And then it's just like, it's not a big deal. And then Varret Ton is just like, fine. He's like, hey, what happened? That was great.
His explanation of like, how are you a healer? Well, I'm not a healer, I'm a senior assessor. Well, how does that make you heal? Well, if you know what the problem is, you can fix it. I just was like, that's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. But also, actually, I really kind of love this.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good stuff.
Yeah, he was, I want to go to that island that has, he was like, well, there's now only 10,300 or, 1,300 sects. There used to be 10,000 and then we murdered each other a lot. Just like so casually.
And the idea of the one god being like, whatever you think it is, just don't tell anybody else about it.
Exactly.
Like, really good. Really good. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and then fucking Varret Ton says Icarium's name and the dude loses his shit. That was upsetting.
Yeah, what
sad.
happened? He bit his mouth and stuff, and he
bit his lip and just kind of fully. It
ran
seemed like his
away.
whole mind broke. Yeah.
So yeah, apparently everyone now knows Icarium. It's been 6 books of us just screaming his name to the world, and everyone's like, "Who's that?" And then this continent that's separated from the entire rest of the world, fucking everyone over here knows who he is.
Yeah.
A little annoying, but what are you gonna do? But we get through that, and then, Vaughn or Tawn is like gonna go up with Twilight and escape. They're definitely not gonna escape.
No, they have to.
No, they've said their plan. You can't say your plan out loud. Something's gonna happen.
Terralac feed's gonna help them.
But where are they going? Where are they escaping?
Well,
So Twilight is not actually stationed in the Imperial city of Letheris. Twilight is supposed to be at a northern city that we've been to, but I can't remember what it's called. And so she's just going to go back to where she's supposed to be and bring her second in command, but then she's going to dismiss him and send him back home once they leave the city. And he lives in Blue Rose, which is where the secret Tisty Andy live.
Yeah.
I was just about to ask about Blue Rose too, because I know it's relevant, and I don't remember why that place was so important.
And now correct me if I'm wrong, Pete. The Onyx place isn't in Blue Rose, right? Even though you would, or maybe it used to be maybe they used to be the leaders of Blue Rose. Is that correct? The Onix Order.
I'm looking at a map now.
So
yeah, the Blue Rose is ruled by the wizards and the High King of the Blue Rose, and also at one point the Blackwinged Lord.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Well, there's that. Don't know much more about it. I guess we'll find out eventually.
Classic.
Now we have finally we did it.
Yo.
Our god has returned. Fenner's here. He looks like an ogre.
Our God is an awesome God.
He reigns from heaven above with wisdom, power, love. Our God is an awesome God. There's a whole dance that goes with that. I learned it at camp. I went to Jesus camp.
All right, moving on. Next.
Well,
no.
Yeah, okay.
Their talk is good. We've seen. I haven't really talked about it I don't think we talked about this episode either. The Errant is trying to look over the holds because he was master of the holds but gave that up. But it seems like he used to always be kind of good at it. But now we're learning that because of this huge change in the beast hold, he's really kind of all what he thought he should be looking at is all topsy-turvy. So maybe he'll be able to look into it now, but unclear. And definitely someone's going to come for Fenner. I would love to see Fenner and Karsa fight, Boar versus Karsa.
Why are they mad? What is the issue with Fenner? I don't understand.
So ready? Here it is. Fenner is part of the house. He should be the leader of the House of War. Okay, he got taken from his spot, right? And it's important that it's the house. I think this is right, Pete. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's leader of the House of War. He gets taken down to Earth.
He's the God of War.
The God of War. Yes, Kratos.
That's a video game.
Yes, we
He's
did
Kratos.
He is Kratos or Ares. Anyway, so he gets brought down. Treach/Trake attempts to take it, but it seems like maybe that's not going super well. And it sounds like India, where the Errant sort of depends upon his followers for power or some sort of more ephemeral bullshit. Fenner is just a boar god. And if you kill him and drink his blood, you're now the god of war. And so everyone that's powerful and that would benefit from being an ascendant is going to come try to kill him. So that is the issue. And so he agrees with so the Errant is going to just try and distract people from noticing that Fenner's here in exchange for Fenner giving him that info about the beast hold. That's not right, Pete? Cool.
Damn.
We did it.
Okay, thank you, Josh.
That's what I'm here for. Bad jokes and exposition.
I do love that he was like, can you please just get people to stop calling my name? Because God, it's so loud. And the Errant's like, yeah, sure, fine.
It had real Bruce Almighty energy to me.
Fuck, oh my God. Yeah.
It's exactly what I thought of when I heard that. I was
this.
Just imagine getting an email notification every millisecond for all day, every day. Similarly to these tiles, we got Featherwitch casting some tiles, and what's that? Kuraquan's ghost is here. India, do you think it's really the ghost of Kuraquan?
The ghost of Kuraquan. No. Actually, yes.
When I read it at first, I thought it was too good to be true, but go ahead. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
So you guys were, shitting on my girl Featherwitch, which I let it slide. But I feel like we're all just ignoring the fact that she has just been like honing in on her power and just doing all of these new things that she never thought possible. And she like also has a finger. And I don't know. I just feel like, well, it's also kind of hard because Peter has read the books.
That's why you sure don't share my opinion.
Right. But we need your opinion, you know? It colors my thoughts. So, which I guess is why you wouldn't give your opinion. Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, I definitely think that it is the ghost. And I really hope that, which I feel like probably not, because then I feel like Peter would have had a different take on Featherwitch instead of like, she's just kind of there and, you know, talks a big ass game. But I'm going to say something that I just thought now. I feel like all of them do. Udinas, Featherwitch, they all think they're some hot shit. So
yeah, definitely I agree that she is just another person who thinks they are the smart and correct one.
Which, to be fair, you need in a book series, because if everyone thinks they're an average Joe, they'll never fucking do anything, you know? But, like, it gets old after a while when they're constantly wrong.
Well, I think the thing is, the series has a lot of people and building hype, both about themselves and about other people. Yeah. I mean, how often in the series is someone like, oh my God, is that Animander Rake? He is such a huge deal. I can't believe that he's here. He's a huge deal. Let me tell you about how big of a fucking deal. And then characters do that about themselves too, you know? So I think you definitely have characters hyping themselves up. I mean, a lot of the book is just people talking about how cool another character is, you know?
Yeah.
Would we consider the Sita a wraith?
Yeah, I see the Sita ghost, I don't feel good about it because it feels like I don't know, just really convenient that the Sita's a ghost and the first time that he's appearing is now to Featherwitch. He's been dead for X amount of time, and I just don't know. It felt too convenient.
But like the finger.
Convenient in what?
You know, like a ghost comes to help her out right when she needs. I don't know. I didn't like it. I don't know if I trust this ghost.
I also don't know why they want to, like, the ghost is like, don't use the finger until, you know, just wait. Why?
Well, would the
Sita even want to use Breeze's finger? You know, he liked Breeze.
What's the point of the finger? What is the point of the finger? Maybe if you use the finger, you can learn how to chop up roulette.
I would assume you summon Breeze Benedict to fight. You know what I mean? That's what I assume with that. Yeah. But it probably only works once.
Yeah. Josh, I don't know if it's because the only reason the Sita showed up is because Featherwitch, like, noticed him.
Right. Right.
Like, he wasn't, like, purposely like, oh, here I am to come help. It was like, hey, who the fuck is spying on me?
Oh, you're right. No, that's correct.
Fair.
That feels right.
And I guess he could have chosen to not be seen because it seemed like her binding ritual or whatever was, like, not strong enough for him. I think at this point it was just like, yeah, you know what? I've been around for X amount of years, like you said. It's like, might as well show myself to someone who, like, fucking knows what the fuck they're doing with the tiles and the holds and shit.
And you're right.
And has the finger, that's true.
Can't forget the finger.
Part of me feels like the Sita's got his own bullshit going on, and he's gonna just, like, use Featherwitch to, like, I don't know, destroy Lether or something.
It's almost like he also has his own agenda.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know though. That might be a not very generous read because I did really love the Sita in Midnight Tides as a character.
Me too.
Why does everyone have to have an agenda? Why can't they all just be chilling? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do need some followers in the group because, like,
right, we can't all be leaders.
We can't. Like, you can't all be leaders.
Speaking of not all being leaders, this next part, I don't know.
What's the next part we got? Well, we can skip Samar and Texilian. Oh yeah, this is like the meat.
Yeah, this is it.
Meat of the chapter. It's big.
This part,
It's huge.
I splasted through. It was a real page turner in like a very literal sense for me.
Yeah.
So was there any doubt in either of your guys' minds when we had like a different POV as to like what the result of this raid would be? Like, I really thought something was going to go wrong for the Patriotists because we didn't actually have like Tanal as the POV. Did either of you get that sense, or were you like, no, they got him the whole time?
I'm never like that.
What was wait, what are you asking?
So, like, you know how we've said before that Steve has a habit of using a different POV and then killing them very quickly?
Yeah.
You know, like the shepherd boy. Did either of you feel like that was going to happen to this Siren Kanar who just like appeared to take Nisal? Did either of you think like different POV, this person's going to die? Because to me, I was shocked. I was fully convinced Nisal was going to get away because it was a different POV character.
Got it. Yes, I agree. I thought something was going to go bad and it would be fine, but
Yeah.
And almost, we were so close to everything being fine.
Yeah.
But
Pete, thoughts on Saren Kanar? Favorite character, least favorite character? Where's he rank in the Pantheon for you?
I actually have some thoughts about him, but they're hard for me to really get into at this point, so I will opt out of it.
Oh, he's a terrible human. His shit that he thinks about his wife is absolutely infuriatingly gross. It's, bad all around. We don't need to really get into it. So we get Nissal taken. Bruth and Tranna. Did India satisfying, worrisome? How did you feel about when Bruth and Tranna just murdered those two bodyguards and punched the Chancellor? Thoughts?
Positive. Positive thoughts. I mostly for this I was really invested in Nissal living.
Yeah, fair.
But that wasn't the case.
Not in the cards.
Yeah. Pete, you raised your hand?
I don't remember doing that, but I will say, I don't know about you guys. I was more attached to Nissal, I think, and I felt, I feel like the death really bummed me out, you know?
Too.
Oh, yeah. I put my book down and just like stared into the middle distance for a full minute. It was really upsetting. Really upsetting.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of deaths that I really remember in the series, but I guess I'd kind of forgotten some of this,
Well, because she's not in the fifth book hardly at all, and we've only had 2 POVs with her in this one.
This is what, a fifth of the book? Like that is how much she was in. Yeah, it's a bummer.
I think what really got me personally was we had saved Janath, who I didn't expect to be saved.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I had written her off. And I fully believed Nissal would be fine, and then she gets killed. And I think that's what made it hurt worse for me, was my expectations for those two characters was just completely flipped.
I agree. That's a really good point.
I feel like the whole time she's like had, not the upper hand per se, but like she'd had steady ground to stand on, Nissal. And then when she was like, oh, I'm pregnant, like I was like, oh, she finally has the upper hand. Like this is going to be fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then when there was the commotion, I was like, okay, great. Bruthan's going to like kick through the door and everything's gonna be fine, and then it was not that, and God, it was just so bad. It's just so bad. I wonder how many times Steve's gonna be able to pull the and then darkness enveloped, like that's, I feel like we've watched so many characters die that way, and I feel like every single time I'm like, man,
bummer.
Oof. Like
literally,
it's like, damn,
bummer.
I mean, at this point we've seen, and in these chapters we see so much more about the Patriotists. Mm-hmm. And like, Josh, I wonder what you think about their role in their empire, their current scheme to try and isolate and trying to move against the Edur, isolate Rulad, move against the Edur, and how this is all playing out. I wonder what you think about them and if they'll be successful.
It's tough because I feel like they're so terrible that even if their reason for being terrible was saving their empire, I still think I couldn't be on their side. And so, and I don't think they're doing it the right way at all. They're using fear to control. I mean, really, when I say to take back their empire, I mean, clearly their goal is to get rid of the Edur and then, the leaders of the Patriotists to take over, as well as the Chancellor and stuff. So I could see it working maybe, but as we've seen, the way Letheri runs comes to a screeching halt as soon as someone decides, okay, the rules aren't working for me anymore. I'm going to just use violence. And now, granted, the Patriotists can use that as well, but I feel like we're seeing that unexpected, rash decisions really throw them off. And if they can't respond to that, I think they're screwed. Now, I have a question for you, Pete.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you're probably gonna say you can answer it. So if that's the case, I'll push it to someone else. Do you think Bruthan made the wrong choice in not killing the Chancellor and Karis and Victad? Do you think he made the right choice in sparing them rather than just saying, I know these two aren't the root of the evil, but they are currently the heads of the evil snakes?
I will share my opinion, but I'm interested in what the other hosts think. India?
Share yours
first. Us first.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me go first.
No, he definitely should have killed them. I mean, the reason that he didn't kill them was because they wanted to save Nissal, right? They were like, we gotta go save her. And then they fucking failed. So to me, it seems like you fucked up 2 times. And now we still have the same 2 fucking awful people, and you left for nothing. And it would have taken
Yep.
5 minutes to just be like, bang, bang, slash, slash, stab, stab, stab. And they didn't do that. So, and I mean, I'm not saying that it would like fix everything, but like we could set them back a little bit, But no.
At the very least, you take out the Chancellor and you get to Rulad.
But I guess
that
then we wouldn't
connection's
have a
restored.
story,
Yeah, true. AJ?
I don't know. I think it's complicated. It's kind of like Karos and Victad's bug puzzle, where you've got this bug with two heads, Karos and Victad and the Chancellor, and they're just stuck running in a circle forever. I don't know where I'm going. That was just a parallel I drew that I don't think means anything.
I liked it.
I don't know. I think it would have been, yes, satisfying for him to have killed Tribun Knoll, but like, I don't know if that would have done anything. I think if they wanted to like stop the Patriotists, first of all, I think they would have needed to have a plan, which is not how they were coming into this. Like, they were coming into this purely reactive, being like, oh shit, we need to like stop this from happening. Like, oh fuck.
Right.
And I think it would have needed to been like at least a semi-organized thing is like, okay, we are taking out the Patriotists now. Like, we're going to go take out all their leaders. And I just think in this moment, they weren't in a position to do that just because everything, like I said, was so in the moment. Like, we are scrambling to get this right or to figure this out,
Mm-hmm.
But I did I want him to? Yes, I did. I did want him to kill Tribun Knoll, but was it the best move? I don't know.
If you're a Tribun Knoll stan, write in. I'd love to hear your opinion so I can never listen to you again, because he sucks. Pete, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree somewhat with what AJ said. I mean, of course, you kind of just want him in a plot, like just a satisfying way to murder Tribun Knoll, because it's like he's the slimy guy. But I mean, I think that, Josh, you're getting this conversations like when you have these large, cruel systems and these cruel organizations is like killing the guy on top. Is this really going to, change that system or change that structure? And, I think there's a way in which it's like, well, no, there's probably like a more wider approach you need to take to try and enact that change. But also, like, those people do need to be held accountable and removed from power, Yeah. So it is like a twofold thing. So that is my nothing of an answer, but
I liked it. I think it was good.
Yeah.
And finally, last two things we got. We see Janeth kind of hanging out with Tehol and Bug, which is an absolutely legendary scene. It's one of the very first times we've seen Tehol cowed by somebody. And of course, it's his former tutor. So good. And any thoughts on that scene, or do you want to move? We want to move on.
No, let's keep going.
Great. And then the last scene, I didn't understand at all. The Liberty consign is like, we've got plans. It's all good. I'm hiring people other than the Patriotists to sort of do some black market shit. It was a bunch of nothing speak to me. Like, we'll find out later. What do you, India? Root, what's his name? Fuck. Rautos Hipanar? Sure. What do you think about him? Do you think he's as competent as he acts to be, or do you think he's okay?
No, I don't. Again, another person who just talks a big ass game, and is like, no, I got it. And everyone's just like, okay, there's absolutely no way. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I get that. No, I'm with you. I don't think he's as competent at all as he claims to be. So
what do you think about this he can't seem to get his hands clean metaphor or whatever? Because I don't really get it.
I didn't either. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of went right over my head.
Yeah, because we've never met, like, this is the first we've been introduced to Rautos Hipanar, right? Like, not in the book, but just like this book is the first time we meet this character.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's not in Midnight Tides or anything, so.
But he is always washing his hands. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Just felt weird. Maybe like as a noble, you're responsible for the. No, that's not right either. I don't know what the point of the hand washing like is. I don't know.
Nope. One day we'll figure it out.
One day.
And that, folks, is going to do it for us today. That was chapters 7, 8, and 9.
Big one.
A lot of stuff in there. Some big boys. We hope you enjoyed, I guess. I did my job, so now it's your job to like what we did. So that's that. We will be back in 2 weeks with chapters 10, 11, and 12. The second half of book 2. Is that right?
I do want to jump in.
I'll say in the after credits just to
I do want to jump in. Maybe you got a prediction from everybody.
Oh, I like that. My prediction is that, and it goes completely against what I said earlier, but I've just had this pop in my head. My prediction is that when it comes to the Rulad, Akarium, Karsa debacle, Rulad is going to say, "Oh, I will only fight the strongest champion." That's Rulad's voice now. And he will demand they all fight each other, which will lead to an Akarium Karsa fight before they have a chance to fight Rulad. And I feel like that will be what sort of tears a hole in the earth, is those two unstoppable forces colliding. That's my prediction.
That was a really great take.
Thank you. If I'm right, then I'll be pretty hype. I don't think I will, though.
India, what do you think?
I want AJ to go first.
Okay. I feel like for the rest of this book, the book 2, we're just going to get a whole bunch more going around the city doing stuff that's going to come to a head with like, I truly just have no idea.
What do you mean? Like you have no idea where the book's going?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's all leading up to this Rulad thing, but like, I don't know. Part of me feels like that's too easy. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I
too,
get that.
that's too obvious. You know, we're only 400 pages in. It could go anywhere.
Well, and also
Yeah.
there's like the bigger picture of like the Letherian Edur fight again,
Right.
which is
Right.
like, what if
Hmm.
Ikarium's on one side, Karsa's on the other, and there isn't like we don't get to the fight, like we in fact just go to war.
Mm.
Am I crazy?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Karsa would ever side with a civilization at all. Like, I don't think he's going to side with either of them. I think he would rather just see both of them wiped from the planet. You know,
That makes sense.
He could be a third party.
he could be a third party. That's true. Yeah, I don't know.
Also, Red Mask. Like, there's just so many things going
There's
Oh,
Red
I
Mask, and then
forgot.
there's the
There's
Unrack
like
and
a
Troll
whole
stuff
war.
too. The Unrack Troll
Yeah.
Quick Bend storyline. I hope we get more of
I-
that in this book. I want to.
I totally think they're gonna get to the edge of this lake at the end of the book, and they're gonna be like, "It's time to go." End of book 7. And then
I
they'll be
think
in book
Karsa's
8.
really gonna fuck with the all.
Mm.
I don't know.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
I would love for them to get together in some way.
Red Mask and Karsa would 100% be buddies until
I
one of them
agree.
until one of them like claims to be the stronger, and then they're both like, "Well, now we gotta have a dick measuring contest. Let's go!" Like,
Do
we
you
gotta
think-
fucking kill each other?
Do you think the All are going to show up in Red Mask and be like, all right, let's take these fuckers down, and he's going to show up, and the Edur and the Letherian just going to be in like a pseudo civil war, and they're going to be fighting each other, and then Red Mask will just be like, okay.
You guys handle this
That's an
then.
interesting idea.
Yeah, you guys handle this. I'll take the scraps, and we'll like finish it up later. But we'll be back. I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing. I just can't believe like fuck these books, because we are 380 pages in, and I have no idea what is going to happen. Like,
And like the book's really just starting to kind of
Right,
chug
it's-
into motion.
right.
I feel like so much happened in these chapters, and we are still barely going.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
there's so many different stories right now too. We're still like
Yeah.
building on we just got a new storyline. Like
Yeah,
In these
we just
chapters.
had a new quest start. It's like, okay, well now we got new characters going on a boat on a lake forever. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
so it's really hard to predict anything, especially when you like I feel like there was one book when we had all these predictions, and then by the end of the book the fight didn't even happen. I think it was before Memories of Ice.
It was it was the end of book 4.
Yeah, House of Chains, where
House
they
of
were
Chains.
leading up to Shaik and the
Oh,
Empire
yeah.
like do this battle. And,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
And that was the whole book. And then it
Yeah.
didn't even happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to mention
Could-
this old crippled god story. It's just fucking there's just too much.
There's a lot. There's so much.
There's a lot.
there's a lot going on.
Yeah. Anyway,
So.
we should wrap up because this
For
is
that
a
reason,
big,
I'm
big
out.
boy.
This is a big episode. All
For that
right,
reason,
thank you
we're out.
thank you for listening. Hope you had fun. We did. We'll see you in a couple weeks with chapters. Insert AJ's voice here. And you can find us at the places that AJ will tell you can find us. Thank
See
you.
you.
Wait.
Bye.
Wait.
Wait.
Josh, you have
Yes?
to do the compassion.
When I say come, you say passion. Come.
Passion. Hello, everybody. Producer AJ here, recording this while on a Skype call. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and thank you so much also for the positive feedback on the new hosting structure from the last episode. It really means a lot. We hope that you like this one. If you'd like to give us your thoughts or feelings about the new structure, or about the episode, or about any of our episodes, you can always email us 10verybigbooks@gmail.com, tweet us at 10verybigbooks, or you can head on over to our Discord, bit.ly/VBB Discord. That's capital V, capital B, capital B, capital D, Discord. That link will also be in the show notes. Thank you to all of your wonderful patrons over on Patreon. If you'd like to financially support the show, you can head on over to patreon.com/10verybigbooks. Links are also in the show notes. And as always, thank you so much to Dan Gesrick for making our spectacular cover art. You can follow him on Twitter at @A_W_DanG for some info on teams that are saving Philly sports. And of course, the wonderful music in today's episode, including the remixed intro and outro track, is by the one, the only Amaranthin from their album Simulant Rain, which you can find along with their other music, including a single of the remix show theme on bandcamp.com. Links to their pages will be in the show notes, and 10 Very Big Books will be back in 2 weeks on November 12th. Where we'll be discussing Reaper's Gale chapters 10, 11, and 12, hosted by me. Talk to you then, and thank you so much for listening.